And a very happy Friday to you at 12:08 in the West. Talk Radio 790 KABC, the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wangs across the glass.
John, every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, we get an LA City Council meeting, and LA City Council meetings are full of the regular gadflies. You've got the guy with the goat puppet. You've got the guy that screams racist rants. We don't usually air his stuff. You've got the guy that sings Korean karaoke, and you've got the guy, and we haven't seen him in a while, who likes to come to City Hall with a replica of the male anatomy in his hand, and he likes to wave it around on the podium to make a point.
You know, on Twitter, Barbara Ferrer told him how to disinfect that after use.
No, thank you.
Yes, she did. Let's hear what that man had to say today.
All they have in his district are these for lease signs. Go up and down Lankershim Boulevard by the Red Line station. For lease, for lease, for lease. It's everything. How can you beautify an area when they're all empty buildings and overpriced luxury apartments that surround them? Yes, folks, it all like this. That's what I think of your stuff.
Now, how would you classify the guy in the Mickey Mouse voice?
I think that's actually the same guy that does the goat puppet.
Okay.
Sometimes he has a different character, and sometimes he has a puppet for that.
And he's different from the guy who's totally racist?
Yes.
Okay.
Although sometimes that guy also does that voice, but he's not as good at it.
Okay. So we have multiple people doing impersonations of Mickey Mouse.
It's a wonder that nothing gets done at LA City Hall. Now, the man who likes to wave around the replica of the male anatomy, he wasn't done. He wasn't just having can't use that term. He not only had a problem with City Hall, he also had a problem with UCLA.
You have 3 minutes for the items. Go ahead.
Mike Greenspan, UCLA football like this one. And if you don't believe me, look at the standings and their W and L record.
Now, wait a minute. It's now, the end of January?
Yes.
Okay. College football season is over.
Maybe he caught some highlights recently.
So he's angry about their record last season and decided to take it out on them publicly at the LA City Council meeting today.
It's very possible that he wrote all this material a month ago and hasn't had a chance to actually go perform it, and he didn't want to just throw it away. I mean, that's hard work that he came up with this.
You have 3 minutes for the items. Go ahead.
Mike Greenspan, UCLA football like this one. And if you don't believe me, look at the standings and their W and L record.
What do you think he studied in Westwood in the 70s?
Do you ever hear someone's voice and you can just tell from the quivering in their voice they've had at least 4 drinks?
Anytime someone asks you, what can you do with an art history degree? The answer is that.
You have 3 minutes for the items. Go ahead.
Mike Greenspan.
Wait, that was Alan Greenspan, I guess, the guy who was in charge of the money?
Yes. This might be a long-lost nephew.
UCLA football.
Maybe he went to USC. Maybe we're reading it all wrong.
That surround them. Yes, folks, it all like this. That's what I think of your stuff.
Waving it in the air for everybody to see.
So put that in your pipe and smoke it. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. Well, it has been a very busy week, whether you're talking about the fires, whether you're talking about the plane crash. But with all of that going on, we still have crime happening in the state of California. So, Randy, let's open up the California Crime Blotter.
If the cashier is dummy.
Questions?
And the first edition of the Blotter takes us to Fresno.
For the second time this week, we have a story of a stabbing in Fresno. The last story was somebody who definitely should not have been out of prison, who was supposed to have an ankle monitor on, decided to randomly go into a woman's house, rob her, beat her, and stab her. This one's a little different. This one takes place on a Fresno city bus.
You know, Fresno, that's where Chrissy Snow is from. And I don't remember her ever telling Jack Tripper about any stabbings.
Apparently what happened is there was a man sitting on the bus. There was another man with a knife that said, "That's my seat. I want to sit there." The man sitting on the bus said, "No, I'm sitting here." And then a stabbing occurred.
You see, he handled that all wrong. If I'm on the bus, God forbid I ever end up on the bus. If I'm on the bus and I'm seated and someone comes up to me with a knife and says, "That's my seat," I would say, "Of course, sir. I knew that all along. I was just sitting here to make sure that no one took your seat. And look at this. There's a seat for you, and then there's an empty one right there for your knife. So you go ahead and you sit down. You take a load off. You look like you've been working hard all day. You've been put through the ringer down at the plant. Go ahead, sit down in the seat, put your feet up, why don't you? In fact, I'm going to get off the bus because my duty here is done. I made sure that no one took your seat. You enjoy that seat. Your knife can enjoy the seat next door. Have a great ride."
Unfortunately, that's not what happened. Someone got stabbed. For more, here is ABC 30 in the Central Valley.
Fresno police are investigating a stabbing on a fax bus that sent a man to the hospital with major injuries. Action News reporter Brisa Colon explains what led to the violence and how city leaders are responding to safety concerns on the bus.
Stabbing over a seat.
Oh, there's some alliteration.
Mark Brown could do that justice.
Mark Brown is the master of alliteration.
Naked and unafraid and just a feet away from the Beverly Hills border. As the tents go up, the clothes come off, and now outraged locals are fighting back against the nudity, narcotics, and negative impact on their businesses.
I will stand and say the greatest script that was ever written in any newscast ever is, "When the tents go up, the clothes come off."
Give that man a golden mic.
Stabbing over a seat. Police say a man was stabbed several times in the stomach and chest while riding a fax.
Several times? That's even more aggravated.
Could you imagine having to go to the ER for that? And the nurse goes, "Why'd you get stabbed?" "Well, I wouldn't give up my seat on the bus."
And for the stabber, he's not really thinking this whole thing through, because now that seat is going to be very wet with a lot of blood.
Yeah, clean up on aisle 7.
Police say a man was stabbed several times in the stomach and chest while riding a fax bus in downtown Fresno. It happened at around 4
What's
o'clock.
a fax bus? Is that a bus from the 1980s?
I believe that is the name of the Fresno transit system.
I see.
Fax. City of LA, we have Dash.
What do they have in Clovis? Xerox?
While riding a fax bus in downtown Fresno. It happened at around 4 o'clock Tuesday afternoon near the Abbey and Divisadero stop. Officers responded within minutes, arresting a man and a woman. Investigators say this.
Wait, there was a woman too.
Oh, yeah. A proud bride.
Investigators say the suspects did not know the victim and the incident.
Now, was this a situation where that's where he wanted to sit, or did the girlfriend say, "That's where I want to sit," and the boyfriend had to do something about it?
What kind of rageaholic do you have to be to do something like this, where maybe not here, but in theory in most places, if you stab someone repeatedly, you go to jail for a long time? Is a seat on the bus that important to you that you're willing to go to prison for 10 years?
In any normal circumstance, no. But, and I'm just alleging this, I have no proof of this, but circumstantially, meth makes you think it's okay.
Probably.
Investigators say the suspects did not know the victim and the incident does not appear to be gang-related, racially motivated, or involve anyone in the unhoused community.
That's quite a lot of qualifiers.
Had they been homeless, they would have been homeless. But because the homeless, for once, didn't do it, they're unhoused.
There was an argument over over the seat, after who was going to be on the seat. The suspects told the victim that they were sitting on their seat and asked them to move. The victim refused, and then that's when the disturbance ensued.
The disturbance ensued?
That's when the knife came out.
That's when the stabbing started.
And apparently, the victim didn't even get a chance to say, okay, I get up.
That's when the disturbance ensued.
The victim was rushed to the hospital in critical but stable condition. A second passenger suffered a minor cut to the hand. We're told the driver...
Boy, that knife was flying everywhere.
Yeah, what was he, Yan Can Cook in there?
We're told the driver quickly stopped the bus and safely evacuated at least 3 bystanders. The incident putting a spotlight on bus security. And a frequent bus rider tells me that she wishes fellow passengers got inspected before they enter into the bus.
How would we ever do that?
No, here's what you do. If you get on the bus and they say, next stop, Benihana, you get off.
We're talking about a lot of things that we're doing to improve the metro stations in places like Los Angeles County, where they've got the new fare gates and they're supposed to have technology that might be able to detect weapons. All that's great. But how exactly are you supposed to police what goes on and off a bus when you have hundreds and hundreds of bus stops and hundreds of bus lines?
You can't.
And there should be more like rules, like getting your pockets checked or whatever to get on the bus.
Do you know what would happen to the person checking the pockets of Stabby? They'd get stabbed.
Did you see that Idris Elba, I think it was Idris Elba, who lives in the United Kingdom, is now advocating, and this is not some kind of online meme from the NRA, but for knife control. He wants to make it so that knives can't be pointing at the top because there's so many people getting stabbed over there. So he wants to make sure that they're dull at the top. So if you try to stab someone with a knife, you can't, but you can still cut meat or wood or whatever with it.
That's an interesting position.
And there should be more like rules, like getting your pockets checked or whatever to get on the bus.
Luis?
So every time the bus pulls up to the bus stop, the bus driver has to get out of their protected cage, go around, open the door, and say, empty your pockets, please. It's just there's no way for this to happen.
Yeah, if you're on meth and suddenly the bus driver wants to start going through your pockets where the meth is being stored, that's going to go over real well.
I mean, this is one of the inherent problems with public transportation. You have to ride it with the public, and at 4 a.m., chances are some members of the public are high on a bunch of drugs or incredibly violent.
That's what Chris Rock used to say about community college.
Anybody in the community can go.
Luis Montoya, president of the union representing city bus drivers, is calling for increased safety measures, including more training for drivers.
What exactly could the driver have done? They're driving the bus.
Luis Montoya, isn't that the guy from The Princess Bride who got stabbed?
That's Ennio Montoya.
We have classroom trainings that they tell us, but as far as actual, like, this is what you do, I'm glad that the driver did the right thing at that moment, but it's like, whatever the situation, you just got to think fast.
But this is the kind of thing where when we have these incidents on LA Metro, the board of supervisors and the other boards of directors on Metro say, well, what we need is de-escalation training. How exactly does that work when you're driving the bus? How exactly are you supposed to de-escalate the person who's so insane they want to stab somebody over a seat?
No, you don't de-escalate. You give up on that and you put the drivers in a cage.
Whatever the situation, you just got to think fast.
But the city's transportation director says they do provide de-escalation training.
What does that mean?
Oh, I'm sure the life coaches are making a fortune teaching that.
Now, do you really want to stab him? Wouldn't you rather give him a hug? No? You want to stab him? Well, at least I tried. Oh, now you want to stab me for trying to intervene?
Uh-oh, what kind of de-escalating training works for that?
What do you think you make as a bus driver for facts?
In Fresno County?
Yeah.
I would be shocked if they made more than $50,000 a year.
Time to go to In-N-Out Burger.
But the city's transportation director says they do provide de-escalation training and have made ample investments to keep drivers and passengers safe.
Except for that passenger that got stabbed.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what you do. This is an inherent risk that will always happen with buses. You can secure the trains by figuring out who gets in on and off the platforms, but you cannot secure hundreds of bus stops. There's just no way to do it.
We should check out the Yelp page for this transit agency and find out if the guy that got stabbed put a review.
We've added driver barriers.
Oh, boy, they're in cages. Do the cages have holes? Because sometimes those cages have holes and the knife can still fit in there.
Well, didn't they put cages in some of them in Los Angeles, but we found out that if they get shot, they explode?
Yes. We had plexiglass that was actually installed for COVID. This was on the LA City dash buses, but the barrier doesn't actually provide any actual protection from any weapons.
I wonder if the drivers were led to believe that it was bulletproof and they had to find out the hard way that it wasn't.
We have a very sophisticated radio operation system. We have cameras on the bus.
What was the other thing Dash had? They had the panic button that it doesn't do anything. It just says on the bus, panic. Doesn't go to any dispatcher. It just says, panic, call 911.
That was helpful.
We have cameras on the bus. And in this case, you actually had two passengers that had a disagreement. That disagreement, unfortunately...
Actually, I think one of them had a disagreement.
Yeah, it wasn't like you had two people engaged in a heated debate. You had one person who was trying to take a seat that belonged to another person and was willing to stab him over it.
That disagreement, unfortunately, led to the stabbing.
We've learned the man who was arrested is...
Such a civil, diplomatic way to say it. That disagreement, unfortunately, led to a stabbing.
Everyone involved in this story is downplaying the stabbing.
Well, this is what transit agencies have to do. They have to downplay the violence that's on their systems because it's stories like this that will get a certain portion of the population to never, ever, ever ride public transit.
I won't ride it.
We've learned the man who was arrested is facing a felony charge of assault with a deadly weapon, while the woman was booked on a felony accessory charge. Montoya.
She told him to do it. Just guessing.
Montoya, thankful the victim survived.
A life, you cannot replace a life. You can replace a bus, you can replace a fare box, you can replace a window, but a human life, once that person's dead, you can't replace that.
Brisa Colon, ABC 30, Action News.
There you go. The case of the stabbing over a bus seat in Fresno.
And the wheels on the bus go round and round.
I love the bus driver.
If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
There are so many good emails here. I got to read a whole bunch of them. Roger writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. In the Bay Area, we have Fremont Area Rapid Transit. It's also known as FART.
That's unfortunate.
Jason writes in and says, guys, what better ending to the week than some crazy crime story from Crazy Cali? If the person who got knifed had a car and not used public transportation, his blood wouldn't have been all over the bus. Your bus system should be renamed to Bad Word. Keep it classy, California. Mark writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. Guys, I'm in Ohio, and I know not to go to effing Fresno. This audience is the best.
And if you want to go back and get more Crime Blotter stories from previous episodes, Randy, that's easy to do.
All you got to do is go to KABC.com, click on podcasts.
If the cashier is dummy.
Go to the Apple Podcast app, iHeart, Spotify, search for The John Phillips Show, hit subscribe. You can download all the episodes.
Get out of my way.
You could do a Google on the YouTube or get that handy dandy KABC app.
No. I know.
Search KABC AM in the Apple App Store or the Android Store.
Now I know.
It's the easiest way to listen live to this radio station and download all the podcasts.
You may want to consider not using the Metro.
And we're going on the road next week.
A week from today, we're going to be in Orange County. Come see Johnny and I broadcast live from noon to 3 on Friday the 7th at Rove Santa Ana. Rove Santa Ana is a full-service EV charging station with 40 ultra-fast EV chargers, a 24/7 lounge with restrooms and free Wi-Fi, a car wash, and a premium convenience store, Recharge by Gelson's. We're going to have free samples from vendors and barbecuing going on, so come hungry as we broadcast live. Plenty of parking for non-EVs as well. Get down there. We want to see you. Rove and Recharge by Gelson's is located at 1008 East 17th Street in Santa Ana off the 5 at the corner of East 17th and Lincoln. We'll see you live Friday the 7th. We'll hang out. We'll have some food, and we'll take some pictures. Can't wait to see y'all in Orange County.
Let's go to Greg, listening online in Las Vegas, Nevada. Greg, hello.
Hey, John, Randy, love your show. I live in Las Vegas.
we have typical crime as well as any other state. And the Clark County that's in charge of the buses hired 1,500 armed guards to patrol both the buses and the bus stations. So crime has started to go down. They didn't use the police. They hired their own separate police force to police the buses. So that's helped bring the crime down here in Las Vegas.
Have you been on one of those buses since they put the armed guards on there?
I have a car. No, no. I have a car. I won't take a bus. But I do know that, we have a large county, and so those buses go everywhere. And they were starting to have problems with crime. So Clark County said, "Hey, we're going to pay for our own security force. We're not going to expect the local police department to deal with it." And that's what they did. They hired 1,500 armed guards to patrol both the buses and the bus stations.
I'm sure they're better off having the armed guards on the buses to keep law and order. But if you're a customer, if you're a passenger, and you see a guy sitting there with a gun, you probably say to yourself, I wonder why there's a guy sitting there with a gun in the first place. It's like if you travel international and you go to some country where the first thing you see is a police officer holding a machine gun, you probably should have gone on one of those Kathy Lee cruises.
But we're an open carry state, so it's not that unusual to see people in grocery stores and stores that don't prevent guns from just walking around with open carry guns. So that's not that unusual here anyway.
Well, of course you're an open carry state. For heaven's sake, one time I was walking along Las Vegas Boulevard and I saw a pirate fight going on in a boat.
Well, that was your first mistake right there, walking on Las Vegas Boulevard.
Thank you for the call, sir.
Don't think he picked up what you put down there.
No. I also saw water getting shot out into the sky with classical music behind it. And Randy, it's time to reopen the California Crime Blotter.
If the cashier is dummy.
Questions?
And this edition takes us to a city that was made famous by the one and only Johnny Cash.
And hopefully won't be made famous by this next story. A creep was driving past a playground in Folsom, California, decided to get out of the car and, as Johnny likes to put it, take the fruit out of the loom.
Uh-oh.
For more, here is CBS Sacramento.
Disgusted and on high alert, a community in Folsom sounding the alarm after reports of a man exposing himself to children. A lot to get to tonight. Thanks for being here for our news at 5 o'clock. I'm Tony Lopez.
And I'm Marley Ginter. That sighting happened at an apartment playground. Let's show you where. It all unfolded at the Mercy Village Apartments. This is less than a mile away from Theodore Judah Elementary.
Wait, they named the apartment building the Mercy Village?
I guess they knew something was going to happen.
Isn't that a name that you would give to a hospice care facility? The Mercy Village? Imagine if a realtor takes you there. I've got some real sweet action for you. Where is it? The Mercy Village.
And Sutter Middle School.
Your reporter covering Sacramento County, Tori Apodaca, is live, as you can see, from the apartments after speaking with the mother of one of the kids involved. Tori.
That mother says she's been taking her 10-year-old son to therapy since this just awful experience. She tells me that man was driving down this alley as her children were playing on that playground right there. She says that he allegedly hopped out of his car and faced those children and then exposed himself.
Gross.
Mercy.
She says she's thankful that the kids are safe, but she will really feel no peace until that man is caught.
They haven't caught him yet, have they? We got an APB for a man with his pants down.
How hard could it be to find someone with their pants down?
They can't walk that fast.
Haven't you heard of the phrase caught with your pants down?
Yes. Yes, I have.
The kids came to my door telling me, Mom, something traumatic just happened, something really bad.
I don't think they said something traumatic just happened.
No. Unless that school is real touchy-feely.
Something really bad.
Children playing at their apartment playground on a Saturday afternoon in Folsom.
A man had basically revealed himself, his private parts to them, and they didn't use the term, but they kind of gestured, because at that age they don't understand what that is.
Okay, I think there was some movement going on. It wasn't just a show. It was a performance.
It could be worse. Some of these kids that ended up in court had to describe how Michael Jackson's looked.
A mother who wanted to stay anonymous walked us through what her 10-year-old son and a 9-year-old girl say they witnessed. A man driving down this alley, hopping out of his car, facing the children, and exposing himself.
Kind of froze.
Something tells me this wasn't his first time.
Nope. He's been around the block a few times. In fact, I think he's been around that block.
Kind of froze.
Just his regular commute, he makes sure that he drives past every playground just in case something tickles his fancy.
The Mercy Village.
Kind of froze.
Surveillance video captures what happened next. A white Honda Civic sport car leaving the alleyway moments after.
Okay, how many white Honda Civics could there be in Folsom? I feel like we could track this guy down.
I don't know. Honda Civics are pretty common.
But Folsom's not that big of a place.
That's true.
I don't think this guy's coming from out of town.
The kids say this was the car the suspect was driving. Folsom police has this video, but couldn't confirm with me that this was the suspect.
Well, who else was there?
Yeah, how is this a big mystery?
Like, if they don't know exactly who the person is, do they have to have a police lineup and have all 5 guys drop their pants?
Well, I think they didn't recognize him because his pants were on.
Mercy Village is taking what happened seriously.
Yeah, they got to change that name.
If this won't motivate them to change their name, I don't think anything will.
Mercy Village is taking what happened seriously, putting out this notice to residents with tips on how to talk to your children about stranger danger.
Really?
Not that we're adding more security and we're doing everything to catch this guy. Here's how you talk to your kids.
Let's go ahead and take all the people who used to do the DEI classes that now can't do that anymore, and let's have them teach about stranger danger.
Teacher reached out to me about him having a little bit of harder time than his normal happy self since this occurred.
Theodore Judah Elementary is about a block and a half away. The school district says the incident didn't happen on school grounds, but it has strict safety protocols and mental health support for students.
Why? Does this happen often?
Well, if that guy's still on the loose, yeah.
It just made me feel real sick to my stomach.
Now, wait a minute. Was that one of the students?
No, I think that was a concerned citizen.
Play that again.
It just made me feel real sick to my stomach.
It made him feel real sick to his stomach. I'm assuming that's a man.
Well, if there's anything you don't want to do, it's traumatize someone who's already been dropped on their head.
It just made me feel real sick to my stomach.
Other parents who live...
Maybe they just were nervous about being on camera.
That's not nerves.
It just made me feel real sick to my stomach.
Other parents who...
Okay, now I got to look at the video. What's going on there?
It's either severe brain damage or missing teeth.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me pull up CBS in Sacramento and see if I could figure out exactly who this person is, because I don't want to be mocking them for no reason.
Well, that's Folsom. That's kind of rural. That sounds like a man who got kicked in the head by a horse.
Okay, here we go. It's Folsom Community on alert, and this guy starts speaking at 2 minutes and 29 seconds.
So it is a man.
Yes, it is a man. It is an old... Oh, wait. Nope. Hold on. To
my son.
Students.
It just made me feel real sick to my stomach.
Yeah, that's an older man.
Really?
Didn't look that old.
And how close to 3 Mile Island does he live?
Other parents who live near the school.
There's a lot of kids in this community, and that's not okay.
Surprised they hadn't heard about this and were disgusted. What has
Yeah, isn't this where you put flyers everywhere? Watch out for the pervo.
Oh, yeah, but don't you need a picture of him?
What has that been like for you as a mother, having to explain this to him?
No, I wasn't.
When you go to the police station and they have to recreate a picture of the suspect, do they draw everything?
Imagine having that job where they describe what the guy looks like and they want the full Monty as part of the drawing.
Are there any identifiable marks?
You should call in sick that day.
What has that been like for you as a mother, having to explain this to him?
No, I wasn't expecting to have any of these conversations with him for another several years.
The alleged...
Wait a minute. So you expect the kid to get flashed when he's 12?
She may be talking about generally having to explain all kinds of different things now.
What kind of judgment does she have? She's living at Mercy Village.
No, I wasn't expecting to have any of these conversations with him for another several years.
The alleged lewd act playing out feet away from a playground, where children usually feel safe.
Not anymore.
Not at Mercy Village.
So I'm just grateful that nothing worse happened.
I don't know how much worse it could have gotten. I guess they could have adopted them.
Today we have seen a lot of kids out around this apartment complex and at the playground, but all of them have...
So the word hasn't gotten out yet.
Could you picture that as a soap opera in the middle of the day? Mercy Village.
All of them have had their parents close by with them. That mother you heard from, though, says that the two children did provide sketches of what that man looked like for the police.
Uh-oh.
They had the kids draw it for him?
I don't know if that's helpful.
Of what that man looked like for the police. I asked the Folsom Police Department about this, and it says it could not provide those to us at this time and could not provide...
Wait a minute. They had the kids draw it, and then the news wanted to take a look at it so they can put it on the broadcast?
Well, we got to find this guy. Any description will do.
No one involved in this story has good judgment. No one.
Could not provide any type of suspect description either, but it says that it is investigating all possible leads.
Yeah, we'll certainly keep asking for that because, parents are concerned, especially this.
Curious whether or not releasing the suspect info, but we'll stay on top of it. Tori, thank you.
They really want to see those pictures.
Now, I did my own artist rendition. I'm going to hold it up. You tell me what it looks like.
Oh, my.
Now, I drew Mercy Village.
Lord have mercy.
If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
Will writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com and says, the Fresno bus stomach stabber must heard a Mercy Flashes story like this one and said, Lord have mercy, while feeling sick to his stomach.
It just made me feel real sick to my stomach.
The voice of reason. It's the John Phillips Show on Talk Radio 790 KABC.